Hello, dolls. It is time for another pop star. We talk about everything from the lowbrow to the highbrow, as long as your eyebrows are on fleek. And today I am dressed like a proper white woman with a slight twist of appropriation. Don't worry, I didn't get this from Urban Outfitters. It's from Anthropology because I'm rich. And just like a proper white woman, I went down over to the Mexicans and I got me a margarita and walked out that bitch like it's not illegal to have open container alcohol. Clink, 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 clink. Clank! And it's time for another pop star. You know, in 2016, I fell off the bandwagon. I think I only did about 6. Woo! I did about 6 pop snarks. So we're going to get it together in 2017 because there's much to talk about now. Trump as our 45th presidency. The best way you can be in 2017 as a white woman who is blissfully ignorant and unaware of the world around her. 2017 you're going to see a real political, historical Jouelzy. It's alright, get ready, get your pens, your papers out. We're gonna learn some things this year. First up, Beyonce interviewed her little sister Solange in Interview magazine. She interviewed an interview. That was cute. Solange is just so insightful and so thoughtful, and she's a deep thinker when it comes to the music, the way she puts together her music, the way she puts together the visuals on any project she does. And so it's a really good read and good insight into like where Cranes in the Sky came from and different elements of the album. She also talks about Miss Tina and her influence and why she has a mother on the album, how their mother has influenced them, and that's a really big deal because they are the first sisters to have 2 #1 albums in the same year. They're both black albums, so Miss Tina has to be looking out and be so proud. And then following that up, the New York Times, I believe yesterday or a few days ago, published an interview or a write-up of sorts on Miss Tina, and it's also another good read and insightful on how Tina Knowles Lawson went through the fire and came out with her fine hubby who she's always posting about on Instagram. Senate confirmations have been happening all week, and this is part of the reason why I've had such a hard time thinking anything that's happening in the pop culture context, because I have been watching all of the Senate confirmations, and I will be doing a follow-up video this week about how you can call your senators and press them about their voting, especially Republican senators, voting for people who are entirely unqualified to serve in the departments that they are nominated for. There's Rex Tillerson, who is nominated for Secretary of State. He's a former Exxon CEO. Then there's Tom Price, who hates women, hates gays, and wants to take away your birth control, your rights to any reproductive rights. Politics is never black and white cut down the middle. There's always a whole lot of other implications and things, so think about that. And he's nominated to Secretary of Human Health Services. I believe it's HHS. Then there is Betsy DeVos, who's nominated as Department of Education, and I'm going to do a whole video breaking this down because I already name checked her. A lot of folks skipped over that in my Chrisette Michelle's canceled video. Senator Murray, I believe is his name. Is it Murray or Murphy? From Connecticut. He asked her how she feels about having guns in schools if they have a place, and she said because there are grizzlies somewhere in Wisconsin, Minnesota, somewhere, that they have a right to have the guns in the school. Now, the senator who asked that question is senator from Connecticut. What happened in Connecticut? Sandy Hook. We're gonna have to call our senators, and I know this is like whole nother video. Steve Harvey met with Trump. Now, I put up my last video was about Chrisette Michelle being canceled, and in the video I said I'm consistent, my record is public, check it. I also understand a lot of people don't realize that I write for theroot.com. I've written an article about is it ever appropriate for black folks to meet with Trump. I will link it down below. You can click the I above to go read it. And girl, Steve Harvey been canceled in my book. Like, I feel like I've brought up Steve Harvey before, and I've posted stuff about Steve Harvey on my Facebook page, and people just camp out for him so hard. But besides the harmful rhetoric that he pushes around black women and our dating lives, beside his own thottish ways, I mean, Marjorie got some nice outfits, but I'm not here for Steve Harvey. Ever, never. He wrong. What, like, Trump is just using him to parade people around for a photo op. I've said this ad nauseum plenty of times. I'm not here for it. I'm so through. And long story short, I probably could do a whole nother video on this, but there is no place for lay people, as in regular black folk and celebrities, people that have no experience in public policy and politics. There is no reason for them to go meet with Trump when he's still not meeting with black politicians, when he's not willing to sit down and talk to John Lewis, when he doesn't have time to hear what the black congresspeople, aside from Tim Scott and Ben Carson, and has he even really gave time to Tim Scott? Come on, sis. Look, you're not really gonna try to check me. One thing as a wealthy white woman is I be at my county meetings. When I have a problem with them young black hooligans trying to come to my school district, girl, Trump inauguration. Okay, so I've already referenced the Chrisette Michele thing. Let's just get it out the way. She's canceled on my book. I really don't care. If you want to support her, cool. I think it's fair to say that my critique of Chrisette was harsh. You know, I don't disagree with that actually. But other than that, I'm just kind of like, at no point in time am I ever going to accept, align myself, co-sign the sort of bigotry, populism, fascism, white nationalism that Donald Trump embodies and is promoting into the executive branch of our government. And then he's just so flagrant. First, getting a baker to recreate the exact same cake that was done for Obama's inauguration. Having the first White House press conference be about the false news around the attendance of his inauguration. Like, the pictures don't lie. It was just less people. Like, if it doesn't really matter, if it's false news, you know, when they go low, we go, is it just gonna be everybody go low? We just gonna be in low season? Is that what this is right now? You got time? Look, I'm about to stop paying taxes for the next 4 years because, first of all, my money is not going to house of Melania and Barron in New York. Look, sis, you signed up for this, you figure that is out. Trump gonna cost us a whole lot of money. The fact that he got to elect his son-in-law to a White House position, even though they turned down Barack Obama from nominating his brother and sister-in-law to White House positions. They turned down Ronald Reagan. I'm just kind of mind blown at the flagrancy of the precedent that's being broken. Woo, watch whiteness work. So the Women's March, a bunch of people asked that I talk about this. My opinion of the Women's March is summed up in one picture. Here we go. Richard Spencer. Y'all know who Richard Spencer is. So Richard Spencer, he's kind of guy that brought back the alt-right movement, the white nationalists, these white boys that think the world revolves around them. And low-key, you know, it might. At this point, do we know? Girl, what's happening? He is just anti-Semitic, racist, misogynistic, flagrant, getting write-ups in magazines, making the face of racism and white nationalism look like seductive and appealing. And somebody, while he was giving an interview somewhere in DC, somebody came up and punched him right in the face. And people be talking about the Nazi punch that used to be a thing in America. Girl, I'm a human. I can contradict myself. I don't really believe in violence. But look, on concerning violence, what Frantz Fanon say, that was the most satisfying video. But did you guys know that Being Mary Jane is back on? And I thought about reviewing it. I'm actually doing the weekly reviews for theroot.com. So we're up to episode 3, which comes on Tuesday. And I've been thinking about maybe doing video reviews, but I don't want to become a TV reviewer. But I have committed to writing for The Root. It's kind of an easy video for me to do. So I might hop on it this week now that I've gotten into the flow of writing the reviews. I was feeling a little insecure about like how good my reviews are. Please read them. Comment. Right now, my opinion on Being Mary Jane is that Mary Jane is fat. Girl. Woo. Of world politics. So the Gambia has been in the news this week. Do y'all even know where the Gambia is? It's on the western coast of Africa. It is part of West Africa. It's one of the smaller nations in Africa. So they've had a dictator since like 92, 94. Yahya Jammeh, I believe is his name. Jammeh is at least his last name. And somehow, some way, there was actually a democratic election that happened last year. He lost. And at first he said he was willing to concede his presidency to the winner of the election. Then he called it like fake and that there was voter fraud. And then he backtracked on his word. And then ECOWAS got involved. And so ECOWAS, I don't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's basically like a union of all the West African nations. ECOWAS got involved and basically said they would support the newly elected president and putting pressure on the dictator Jammeh to step down, which is unusual considering that there are quite a few dictators who get to be a part of the African Union and have not been put as much pressure on to succeed to democratic elections. Like Mugabe. Both the African Union and the ECOWAS stepped up, put pressure. I believe Mahama, the president of Ghana, the former president, not Nana Addo, and then Buhari both went to meet with him. And then the new president, whose name I really don't remember, was inaugurated in Senegal. And Jammeh got on an airplane yesterday and left the country. And so now there's a new president that was elected by the people in the Gambia. But they're doing way better in their democracy than we are right now. As a matter of fact, there's been quite a few elections on the continent of Africa that have been going much better than whatever we're doing over here. Pastor Eddie Long passed away. You know, Was I on YouTube when all this broke about him molesting young men in his church? If I was ever looking to be a successful scammer, I would get into the business of religion, because literally, if I vehemently talk about my belief in God enough and post some pretty pictures on Instagram, almost all my sins can be forgiven. Now, I do not believe in, have I ever celebrated anybody's death? That's kind of what I have to, He passed away from colon cancer, but I don't necessarily feel comfortable with this idea of saying that God decided you have to pay for your actions by giving you cancer, because then what does that say about everyone else who is inflicted with cancer? You know, how are we to decide what God's intentions are? I hope that I've never invoked myself as the voice of God. Keke Palmer and Trey Songz apparently have some sort of falling out. Now, I would have never looked at this Trey Songz video if I hadn't seen something from Keke Palmer on Instagram. But there is this new song, and it's talking about like pussy and it's lit and stuff. So it's not my cup of tea. I don't listen to it. I don't know. I'm too old for this stuff, girl. No. But I watched the video because Keke talked about it. So one of these young fellas with the messy hairdo is in the video, and one of his lines is, "I palm her pussy like Keke" or something. And then there's like a clip of Keke on her phone. When a woman or a man, any human being says no, their no means no. I don't care if she was on Snapchat looking like she was having a good time. If she said she did not want to be recorded, it don't matter how good of a time she had. I could be having a good time and not want the video of it to go nowhere. Especially not in a video in a line that's talking about palming a woman's vagina. That is it for this week's Pop Snark. This is my great grandmother's mint, girl. It's full length. Giving it to you. Regal. Did I miss anything? Comment down below. As always, Pop Snark is an interactive moment. Clink, clink, clink on that. Let me know what you were drinking. And I'll see you sometime soon. Deuces!